You want me to participate in Sunday school? Enjoy my extensive knowledge of your holy book, by user Angelnady. So my relatives and parents are very firmly a part of this cult. It's mostly in the States but it does have some worldly presence. Not gonna say which one it is cause I don't want my parents to find this post. I left the cult about 2 years ago now, after they refused to acknowledge that I had several medical problems and the religion believes that people can become like Jesus and heal their own bodies. Whack, right? And I'm not talking about a little scratch or a cold. I'm talking about cancers, contagious diseases like measles, polio, whooping cough, broken bones, psychological disorders. It's really crazy. But whenever I come back they always make me go to Sunday school to show respect for the family. Bullshit, it's cause they want to convert me back, and whenever someone from the cult finds out someone has left they make it their personal mission to bring them back. So this past Sunday I didn't have work and my dad told me I had to go to church with the family. He said I'm still able to go to Sunday school since I'm just in university. We arrived to the church, I'm super dressed up. Like very fancy looking. The women when I come in are very pleased, they know I've left, and are like wow it's so nice to see you back. Hope you come more often now we've missed you. I go down to my Sunday school class and it's a bunch of uni kids and an older woman, strict looking teacher. Perfect. She sits me down and starts talking about the Bible and what's wrong and right. Cue malicious compliance. I took 2 years of intensive Bible classes, I've translated from Hebrew and Greek, I've actually read the whole Bible cover to cover. Some points were made. Teacher, and so God said that we most never lie in bed with another of the same sex. Me, and where does it say that ma'am? Teacher, well in this verse here shows. Me, that was actually mistranslated from Hebrew. It actually says man shall not lie with boy. Teacher, frustrated no that's not true. And besides, there's this verse here which says homosexual sex is wrong shows other verse. Me, so, by that logic, wouldn't that mean that anyone, male on male, female on male, or female on female, who was having oral or anal sex would be gay? Teacher, horrified. The whole class went on like this. I refuted claims about the killing of children, the uselessness of prostitutes, about immigration, and so on. After church, my dad was pulled aside by the teacher and when he came back he sighed and shook his head and said fine. You don't have to come anymore. I replied with is she not impressed with my thorough knowledge of the Bible? If I don't like it, tell it to the news? I guess we're going to the news then. Video evidence by user Kassid. My mother was a truly inspiring woman. Her favorite phrase was why say bleed when you can say hemorrhage because she never did anything halfway when she knew she could go all the way. We couldn't even ask for help with homework because you'd be up till 3 a.m. on a school night, adding one more thing. Then you'd go to school with this magnum opus while everyone around you phoned it in and still got an A. She would rarely get angry, but if you activated her righteous indignation, the repercussions would be legendary. There was one such story of malicious compliance that she always loved to tell, and I just found the receipts, so I wanted to share it with everyone. It all started one day when I found a dagger in my brother's room. It was an ornate sort of fantasy-style dagger. Not something you would find just anywhere, and it was very sharp. We were not old enough to have something like that at the time, he was only 11. Immediately, my mother walked up behind me and caught me red-handed, so I did what any self-respecting little brother would do and threw him under the bus. My brother wasn't at home at the time, so she went through everything and found more of these knives. She laid them out on the table, and she was psyching herself up for the hell she was going to bring down upon him. By the time my brother gets home, he walks in and sees her sitting there with the knives out. He goes white as a sheet. She immediately asks where he got them. This was the late 90s, and my brother was pretty into Magic, the Gathering. The card shop he went to for his fix was just down the street. He spent a great deal of time there and bought boxes and boxes of these cards from them, so they knew him and knew he was too young. They had sold it to him, knowing full well that he was underage, no questions asked. My mother's jaw dropped, and moments later, we were pulling up to the place. She drags my brother into the store and puts the knives down in front of the woman who owns the place. She tells her that they had sold it to him. Yeah, so what? He is not 18, and he shouldn't have access to these. You need to tell your employees to check IDs before they sell weapons to minors. She was willing to give her the benefit of the doubt before she snapped back with it's a joke, it's humor, don't you get it? So the problem is you. I am his mother, and I don't think it is funny. If you won't follow the law at the very least, I need you to stop selling weapons to my son. I'll do whatever I want. If you don't like it, tell the news. Surely this woman doesn't know who she is talking to, or the lengths that my mom was willing to go for her kids. I don't know why on earth that would be the phrase you'd use. Now you are just asking for it. Mom gives her one last chance before the hammer drops. So you are saying that even without my permission, having asked you not to personally, and knowing it is illegal, you would still sell a knife to him? Of course, this is a business, maybe raise him better if you don't like what he is doing. It was like the air left the room. There were 3 of us boys in elementary, middle school, and high school around the time. She was president of all 3 PTAs for 3 different schools miles apart from each other. She was practically momming as a sport and crushing it by every conceivable standard. This woman had just slighted her to her core, and now had to deal with the consequences of her ignorance. My mom didn't say another word. She gathered the knives, and we walked out. Even the woman behind the desk looked a little shocked that she was just walking out. So was I. We all went back to the car, and no one said a word. Then you could almost visibly see the resolve set in, and she says, "I guess we are going to the news then." I don't remember her saying another word the rest of the night. The next day, I woke up and she had papers all around her that she had downloaded and printed off, and highlighted. She was on the phone explaining the story to a news station who'd just opened and responding to emails she'd sent overnight. I don't think she slept. She had been up researching the laws and building her case. The first reporters she talked to didn't seem to see what she saw in the story, and told her they wouldn't pick it up. Every time she was told no, she would ask for references to someone who would do something like this. It took weeks of phone tag. She called the next reporter, then another, leaving messages and following up. Finally, she found an investigative reporter who would work with her. They decided that the best course of action was to put a hidden camera on my brother to send him undercover to buy something larger. Believe me, I am well aware of how outlandish that sounds. They met up down the street and gave my brother some money to buy the biggest weapon he could get. I seem to remember it being $120. Wired him up with a microphone and a spy camera they'd bought at a Radio Shack, and he went in and he bought a legit full sword from the place. They jokingly told him not to kill anyone with it as he was walking out, and never asked to see an ID. Afterwards, the reporter interviewed the store owner, who stuck with her old fallback of it being funny to sell deadly weapons to kids. Then they interviewed my mom outside the shop, and the 2 of them argued on camera. Maybe because they had already caught her on a hidden camera, she felt the need to double down. She had to think people would side with her for some reason. She was irate. My mom just kept feeding her the rope to hang herself with, and the shop owner tied the whole thing into a neatly wrapped bow for the reporter. Just a spectacular failure on her part. It's hard to imagine how it could have gone worse. Sure, it is just a local news report from the 90s. For my mom, it was her hero moment. She knew she was right, and she knew this person had to be stopped, and she did it all the way. Just like everything she ever did. In the report, they say that they went back, and the place was already closed. Within a month, it was completely out of business. The reporter won an award for the piece, and the righteous indignation was satiated for the time being. My mom recorded the airing of the report on a VHS tape, and every chance she got, she would parade it around to show people her crowning achievement. She would tell the whole story and we'd all watch the tape until it was lost to time and became legend. Through some effort, I have found the video, and I know that she would want everyone to see it. So here it is, https://youtube.b/ojxgo_zgq0, si = I6 voa 9u5 fxfy5 y. Toddler Poop Cult, by user Carol English Major. So I work in a toddler room, and the toddlers were starting to get really into potty humor, as is typical for that age. They had started talking about poop at the lunch table, so my head teacher told them you can only talk about bathroom stuff in the bathroom and would send them into the bathroom to get it out of their system before coming back to the table. They immediately realized the loophole we just gave them and started going into the bathroom and saying every potty-related word they knew. We hoped it would blow over once they got bored because at this point it was too late to take it back. Fast forward a couple days later, we are trying to do a circle but there are 5 toddlers all congregated in the little bathroom chanting poop in the butt. Poop in the butt. We can't even say anything cause like, they are in the bathroom. So we had to sit there and wait for the weird poop cult to finish before we could start circle. Repost because it was originally taken down for Rule 6. I added more clarification in this new post about how absolutely intentional this was. Toddlers are honestly too smart for their own good sometimes. Leaning into the no questions policy, by user work from Ami Hun. I work at a retail store where each sale requires on average 10 minutes of paperwork. That's if you're fast and know what you're doing. 2 months into the job, the boss told us new hires to stop asking questions in front of the customers. We look like clowns and customers lose confidence. The only training they provided was asking questions. They'd stick you with a customer and make you guess how to process the paperwork. If you got stuck, you'd ask for help. They tell you what to click but not why. Then they info dump all exceptions to the rule they just gave you. Malicious compliance, stop asking questions and I take my sweet ass time, 30 to 40 minutes, guessing my way through paperwork. I've undercharged customers. A customer actually walked out. Call me when you all actually have time for me, because I can't be here all day. A customer decided not to buy. The senior employee was mad I didn't ask about shipping. Yes, we usually don't, but we sometimes make exceptions. Always ask questions. When I'm at the sales desk, instead of asking if we sell a product or accept an insurance, I just tell callers that we don't. This saves me from doing the work of looking them up. When I'm working the reception desk, I waste time looking up obscure insurance policies instead of just asking a senior employee. I'm not Latino but I speak some Spanish. Now when Spanish speakers call, I only respond in English. Before I would speak Spanish and ask for help if I need it. Now because of the no questions policy, I don't even ask my coworkers if they are free to take a call. I feel bad for these people though. But not too bad, all they have to do is call back and hope I don't answer lol. r/the Farside maliciously complies, by user Nubosterone. Reposting Glenn Larson's cartoons on r/the Farside has been triggering copyright takedown notices. Instead of abandoning the subreddit, users are posting descriptions of the cartoons. Since it's die-hard fans, we know which one they're talking about. Malicious? Maybe not, but we're certainly complying with the letter of the law.